Hello everyone, Daniel Cote here. In this series of videos, I present some key ideas on cooperative management that I've been working on for over 30 years. In this fourth video, I look more specifically at the new cooperative paradigm and the strategy of member loyalty and engagement. First, here's an initial observation on loyalty. A study by McKinsey conducted in 2017 points out that barely 13% of consumers can be recognized as loyal, while 87% go shopping. Among those 87%, 29% are identified as vulnerable buyers who ultimately stay with the same brand. The remaining 58% are considered potential defectors. In such an environment, companies and brands compete fiercely, and maintaining market share is proving increasingly difficult. Loyalty, therefore, becomes a new benchmark in the business world. But how to tackle this fundamental issue of loyalty management? The model that I developed is the result of an action research process conducted over many years, involving several cooperatives. It combines both practice and theory. Here are the main lessons learned from this process. Going beyond functional approaches, mainly focused on marketing and human resource management, the global approach favored here presents loyalty as a leadership philosophy that promotes mutual benefits for all stakeholders, while loyalty must be integrated into the company's core strategy. As a starting point, it must be recognized that it is impossible to win the loyalty of your customers without the loyalty of your employees. Developing a loyal customer base cannot be done at the margin. The entire business system must be built around customer loyalty. At the heart of the conditions for success lies a constant commitment on the part of senior management to transmit the values and beliefs central to a customer-oriented strategy. To ensure a successful implementation of this customer-oriented strategy, it is essential to develop a set of practices that ensure a high degree of consistency in the company's day-to-day customer-focused activities. The business system thus designed must incorporate fundamental values and principles such as uncompromising ethics and integrity, mutual trust, transparency, proximity to customers, genuine interest in customers before, during, and after the transaction, a value-added business proposition, and the ability to delight customers. These elements must be integrated into the strategic vision, the customer promise, all business practices, and eventually transcend the organization's culture. The integration of values and principles into strategy and business practices is facilitated when the company builds a strategic vision and customer promise that are widely shared by all employees. Beyond these key points, a customer-oriented strategy requires a capacity for differentiation based on operational excellence and the ability to consistently meet customers' expectations, on operational benevolence, and the ability to place the customer's interests ahead of those of the company, on the ability to resolve problems that may arise during and after service, as well as on superior market awareness and customer liaison skills to create and build appropriate relationship with these clients. In addition, the key factors in this relational paradigm need to be measured for both customers and employees. In this way, it will be possible, indeed necessary, to regularly assess the company's position in terms of relationship with the key stakeholders in the process. For the customer's relations, First, we need to address the issue of measuring and evaluating the customer experience. That is, the customer's holistic perception of their experience with your business or brand, a growing priority as a driver of competitiveness. Properly measuring the customer experience should provide managers with a good view of what their customers are thinking. But a study of 70,000 companies as part of the American Consumer Satisfaction Index shows that managers generally fail to understand their company's customers in two important ways. They systematically overestimate their customers' level of satisfaction and attitude on loyalty, as well as understanding the drivers of customer satisfaction, that is, what are its antecedents and their relative effects on it. This lack of understanding has important implications as companies with the smallest gap between their perception and that of their customers show significantly higher levels of customer satisfaction. Moreover, simply measuring satisfaction is insufficient to assess the company's position on its market. To get a better idea of a company's performance in terms of satisfaction, it is necessary to try and explain the share of wallet held by a company, that is, the portion of the budget that a consumer devotes to a given product or service, which few companies measure. To do so, satisfaction must be measured in relative terms, compared to key competitors. It is the rank that matters. A final theme of growing importance is customer engagement. According to the results of an opinion poll conducted by Gallup, it is estimated that when a customer is fully engaged, this will result in a 23% premium relative to the same share of wallet going to the company. Gallup measures a customer engagement score using 3 questions. This company always delivers on its promises. I feel proud to be a customer of this company. This company is perfect for people like me. For the employee relations, we need to analyze the quality of the internal environment, the employee's attitude toward their work, their perception of the organization's capability to execute and deliver a high-level business proposition, etc. However, moments of truth are also very important. What are they, and why talk about moments of truth? Here are a few points to consider. The need to see and understand the issues and challenges of loyalty from the employee's point of view, what is important to them, and how to earn their loyalty. Identify the trade-offs between personal, collective, and organizational loyalties. Address the need to manage employees' expectations, but also to make the management team aware of potential roadblocks experienced and/or expressed by these employees. Give credibility to the process to increase the probability of success when a climate of trust is required. Question the alignment perceived by the employees regarding the management team's capacity to walk the talk. A diagnosis of the moments of truth is therefore crucial to increase the chances of a successful implementation of a loyalty-focused strategy. At this stage, several key themes have been addressed, but beyond satisfaction, what about loyalty? Approaching the question of loyalty solely from the satisfaction and satisfaction perspective is insufficient. The expectations model is useful for understanding customer satisfaction and satisfaction, but less so for understanding the more emotionally charged reactions of delight and outrage. In this context, it is understandable that consumers are essentially ambivalent about their loyalty towards a company. We can therefore expect them to switch to competition easily for a better price, better location, etc. To better understand the stakes involved in loyalty beyond satisfaction, we need to consider three basic consumer needs: security, justice, and self-esteem. Taking these needs into account requires us to consider the customer first as a person, then as a consumer. People strive to satisfy their basic needs at a more fundamental and compelling level than simply meeting their expectations as consumers. The customer as consumer will seek to satisfy his expectations, while the same customer, seen as a person, will seek to satisfy his basic needs and thus improve his well-being. From the point of view of security, a person seeks, above all, to organize his life around his assets, to control and possess them, which in turn enables him to feel secure. As far as self-esteem is concerned, the feeling of being useful, of having value, of feeling in control, and of feeling competent are central to satisfying this need. For the need of justice, the person will consider the necessity to be treated fairly, which requires considering the reciprocity between the customer and the company, while the company gives too little appreciation to the investment the customer makes in time, money, and efforts towards it. Failure to meet these needs can lead to a feeling of outrage, while satisfying them can delight the consumer. A delighted or outraged customer will not have the same ambivalent attitude. While an outraged customer is likely to move on to the competition, a delighted customer is much more likely to become loyal and turn into an apostole. In contrast to the satisfaction results, delight shows significant effects on psychological and behavioral customer variables. For example, companies that delight their customers can create emotional bonds, stronger memories, a higher level of loyalty, commitment, recommendation, even willingness to pay more. However, it remains essential to meet customers' needs in terms of their expectations. Now, what about the impact of such a strategy on company performance? A recent study based on data from the American Consumer Satisfaction Index, which provides annual customer satisfaction results from survey data for about 300 of the largest companies in the US across 45 distinct industries, have demonstrated the substantial impact of optimal customer satisfaction on performance as captured by shareholders' values. On an annual basis, the share value index of these same companies outperforms the Standard & Poor's index 14 years out of the 15 analyzed. On the other hand, how long can a company expect to benefit from developing a customer-oriented strategy? The answer to this important question is that the company must constantly identify new dimensions around this customer-oriented strategy if it is to stand out from its competition. Having extensively documented the issues involved in loyalty management, what can be said about the foundations of cooperatives in relation to the customer-oriented strategy? What advantages, if any, does the cooperative hold? Several factors are worth identifying. First, let's review the foundations of loyalty and of cooperative identity. As mentioned earlier, to manage loyalty, the company must integrate a set of fundamental values and principles, all strongly correlated with the foundations at the heart of the cooperative organization. Values and principles such as values of ethics, integrity without compromise, mutual trust, transparency, are central to cooperative identity. Proximity with clients, themselves called upon to coach the enterprise, is facilitated in cooperatives since clients, as members, are users and owners. As for putting the customer's interest first, cooperative's purpose, to see to the well-being of its members, can best translate such a key principle into action. Finally, the possibility of delighting the member is also superior when cooperative values are involved, via the notion of self-transcendence, as seen in the second video on congruence with values. The impact of these values on employees and the resulting cooperative, ethical, and pro-social behaviors reinforce the likelihood of delivering service beyond expectations and delight the members. On the transmission of values by senior managers, continually communicated to the company's employees, the cooperative advantages appear precisely because values are at the heart of its distinct nature. While private enterprise must continually balance the interest of the shareholders and the customers, this is not the case for the cooperative. The trade-offs can be continually made by giving priority to the members, the owner users. Hence the possibility of greater coherence aligned with values. Finally, the cooperative offers greater potential for meeting basic human needs beyond expectations. Basic needs such as security, self-esteem, and justice are all intimately linked to the concept of psychological ownership I presented in my third video. The very clear link between the foundations of psychological ownership and the foundations of the cooperative organization therefore allows us to advance the idea that a cooperative can satisfy these fundamental needs by developing such a feeling of psychological ownership. It will therefore be better positioned to go beyond satisfaction to loyalty and therefore overcome the ambivalence challenge. So the cooperative can develop a sustainable position based on loyalty beyond the necessary conditions via the new cooperative paradigm. Finally, in my first video, I concluded with the idea that the new cooperative paradigm was a way out of the identity malaise affecting many cooperatives. The conclusions of the fourth video on loyalty management reinforces my conclusions on value congruence, the second video, and psychological ownership, third video. The inherent strategic potential of the cooperative identity allows us to rethink the major trends both at the associative and enterprise level, taking the cooperative from the first to the third quadrant. Repositioning the cooperative in the fourth quadrant is therefore conceivable, even more, highly desirable, because it is a source of value creation for both the member and the cooperative. Thank you for listening.